Once upon a time in a convenience store, a woman asked, "Which zero-calorie drink will I like more?" The cashier said, "I have a thought. Coke Zero Sugar always hits the spot." The taste made her heart fill with laughter, and with her Coke Zero Sugar, she lived happily ever after. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, unbelievably delicious.
No trip to the store is complete without the unbelievably delicious zero-calorie taste of Coke Zero Sugar. Pick some up at 7-Eleven today.
Should you buy the hook? OffshoreInsiders.com. I'm your Grandmaster Handicapper, Joe Duffy, the CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. Been winning since 1988. We're going to break it down objectively. When it is a good idea to buy a half a point and when it isn't. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, it isn't. Now, of course, there are certain circumstances where we have a handicap where a half a point is humongous, but statistically, if you do it blindly, and I know there's one entity out there that always, all their handicappers will do it blindly in order to bloat the records. Well, here's how often it pays off. First of all lines cumulative. To buy a half a point, it costs a minimum of 10% juice up to 20% juice, and in some cases when it's on a key number, some sports books charge you 25%. Number of games in our database, which goes back to the 1980s, 7,023. Percent of times that it pays off to buy a half a point, 2.6% of the time. It's got to pay off anywhere from 10 to 20% to pay off. Now, how about when you buy on or off of 10 points? Again, the cost will be some cases only the normal 10%. In other cases, you'll have to pay an additional 15%. Now, that's, of course, in addition to the 10% juice that you're already being charged. So you're actually going to be charged from 20 to 25% total. Number of games in the sample where you're buying on or off of 10%, 177. Percent of the times that it pays off, just 3.9. How about buying on or off of 7 points? The cost to you, 15 to 20%. Number of games in the sample, 185. The percent of the times that it pays off, 5.5%. Got to pay off about 15% just to break even. Pays off 5%. Another epic fail. Now, statistically, it pays off more times at three, buying on or off of 3 points. And that kind of makes sense because, remember, normal home field advantage is considered to be worth 3 points, so you essentially got two even teams. The cost to buy on or off of 3 points, minimum of 20%. Some sports books will charge 25%. Number of games in the sample, 1,041. Percent of the times that it pays off, 9.5%. So as close as it comes on any number to paying off is at 3, and it pays off literally less than half of the break-even point. Less than half of the break-even point. So since 3 is such a key number and the most key of all key numbers, we'll break it down. How about if you want to buy from 2.5 points up to 3. You're getting 2.5 points, but you say, let's buy it up to 3. Again, cost 20%. Some sports books will charge up to 25%. Number of games in the sample, 434. Percent of the times that it pays off, 7.6. And how about if you're laying 3.5, but you only want to lay 3 points? Again, it's going to cost you an additional 20%. Some books up to 25%. Number of the games in the sample, 563%. of the times that it will pay off, 7.2%. So again, anyone who tells you it's a good idea to buy a half a point, the numbers are unequivocal and emphatic. Just tell them, no offense, they don't know what the hell they are talking about. The numbers do not lie. Now, if you want fact-based handicapping that wins, one and only one place to go, OffshoreInsiders.com, where, quite frankly, our handicappers aren't stupid. They're not going to tell you robotically to buy a half a point simply to bloat their record at once, like 7 times every 100 games, where they can turn a push into a winner or a loser into a push. You don't do that at OffshoreInsiders.com. You just get the best picks from the best handicappers. www.offshoreinsiders.com
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
You never really stop riding in your mind. Never. Unless you're thinking of something else.
Like other thoughts.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.